All right, guys, on today's episode of the Fight Hub podcast, we're going to talk about teaching kids jiu-jitsu. You might love it, you might hate it. Either way, you need to listen to this episode. We have a special guest, my first black belt, Coach Mat Stratta. So Coach Mat has taught at my academy. He actually ran Endurance Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for several years before moving. And maybe more importantly than his jiu-jitsu accolades, he has a degree in elementary education from Indiana University. He's taught all over the world, including in Australia, Korea, and the United States, as well as training jiu-jitsu in those places. I know our other coaches always enjoy watching and helping him teach, and our parents are always full of compliments after witnessing one of his classes. So, again, if you teach kids jiu-jitsu or you run a jiu-jitsu program that has children, you need to tune into this episode. You're going to get a lot of amazing tips and a couple funny stories. So let's dig in.
Tommy. I'm going to learn jiu-jitsu. Tommy, pop it!
All right, guys. So today we have my good friend Mat Stratta with us. We're going to talk about running kids classes, and also want to note that my co-host Ryan Selleck is behind the scenes today on the computer, leaving me all by myself. So just me and Matt today. So Matt, I have this nice long list of questions for you. We're probably not going to get through all of them, but why don't we just start a little background on you. I know you've got a background in elementary education. You've been coaching BJJ for a while. You're a third degree black belt under some really cool guy. But yeah, just give us a little background, little briefing. Tell us about you and definitely like how that relates to teaching kids and stuff.
Awesome. Well, first, thanks. I'm happy to help you guys out today. We've got a little bit about me for those of you who are listening who don't know. Like Coach said, I've got a degree in elementary education. I went to Indiana University, and then while I was there, I did my student teaching. Part of it was here in the States, and part of it I taught in Australia, in New South Wales, which was a lot of fun, pretty interesting. And then before that, I've always been in martial arts, always been helping coach and run classes and teach kids and adults and stuff. So I've been coaching since 1994, 95 in martial arts.
Oh, wow. So you started in Taekwondo, right?
Yeah. Started in Taekwondo. Like most of us, we did traditional martial arts growing up because that's really all that was around. And then, when 97, 99 hit, and then UFC hit, VHS. For those of you who don't know what VHS is, there are these big tapes. Film used to be on larger cassettes, and you would put them what was called the
VCR, right? Video cassette recorder.
So you'd go to the Blockbuster, and then on a Friday and Saturday night, rent the UFC. So that dates us quite a bit. But so I've always been in martial arts growing up because that's, the Taekwondo was always around, traditional martial arts. And then started jiu-jitsu when you opened up the place in Franklin back in the day. When was that?
So the grand opening was March 3rd of 2000. So yeah, Eric Sullivan opened, and I was one of the assistant coaches. And you started shortly after that.
Yeah. So, kept doing jiu-jitsu through college and was coaching there at IU because with Tim Sled and Kate Arbat and the IU who started the IU Jiu-Jitsu Club. And so I got my degree in education. I taught there for a little bit, and I also, after college, I went to South Korea and taught English overseas for about 5 years. So I've always been involved in coaching and teaching in some aspect. And the elementary education, the education that I got from IU helped out a lot. But what helped the most, I think, was teaching overseas, teaching abroad, experiencing different cultures, and also the mistakes you make when you are exposed to different learning styles, whether it be in a classroom or on the mat. So you learn a lot on the fly. So it's great.
So like, as far as like teaching, so like Australia and Korea and US are very different, right? Like any like major takeaways, like anything that like really kind of like molded your teaching style, like maybe that's a little different than some of the other like jiu-jitsu coaches, for example.
I'd say that something that helped mold my style would be ultimately classroom management is crazy important. No matter where, that's just something that's across the board. Being able to maintain control and kind of scaffold the kids or the students towards the end result. Because ultimately, if you have a classroom with like an iron fist, it can kind of create a lot of problems. Basically, it can kind of demoralize and kind of inhibit fun.
Yeah.
But if you scaffold, like when I say scaffolding, I mean like when you're in construction or paint, you create this scaffold around the building to help create either whether you're painting or with construction, but you kind of guide it in a certain direction. So that's what I mean by scaffolding. So you help the class and you guide them in their own journey towards what we're working on today, and you kind of let them go through and develop their own pattern and their own timeline. But you kind of just help them throughout that journey and throughout the process, versus just, all right, today this is what we're doing. Listen, pay attention, and like it just kind of, man.
That sounds like me.
Me sometimes too. We're all human. We all have that atmosphere or that mentality sometimes. But classroom management is crazy important, and
Absolutely.
also just kind of keeping it light and keeping it fun, and knowing when to tighten up and when to just kind of let them have structured chaos.
Yeah. I've noticed that quite a bit. Like, I feel like some coaches or most coaches are almost one extreme or the other, right? Like it's either too rough, too disciplined, it's not fun, or it's like all fun and no discipline. And, like for me, again, I'm more toward the discipline side, but like, I'm not teaching our kids program full time. I'm barely teaching it at all. Just not something I enjoy. I feel like I'm good at it, but like I have fun with the kids, but they're disciplined. But like also, like I try to tell the coaches, like, listen, parents bring their kids here for discipline. Yeah, they want them to learn to fight. Kind of, right? Like most parents are like, yeah, I'd like my kid to defend himself, but ultimately I want my kid to be a good person and to develop some discipline. So it can't be all fun and games and the kids don't learn anything, but at the same time, like they have to have fun or they're not going to want to come and they're not going to want to learn. They're going to get bored and be like, I don't want to do that. Yeah. And then cry and scream. And then the parents are like, I can't take the crying and screaming, so I'm not going to discipline them and bring them, let them sit at home and eat potato chips on the couch.
Yeah, exactly. I had students when I had my gym, when the first couple months, I think within the first year of having my kids program, one of the parents called me and said that his daughter was kind of losing interest and wanted my input on it. And when it's your first time, when it's your first jump into your own gym, and you try to make everybody happy and you try to help everybody, you don't want anybody to quit. Because you believe in what you're teaching. Absolutely. And you want them to reap the benefits of it. So, but other times, sometimes it's not the right time. Yeah. Sometimes, life gets crazy. You don't know what exactly is going on, either with an adult student or a child student. Sometimes they're like stressed at home, stressed at school, and it's just easier sometimes to just, all right, well, I tell you what, you try to give them advice, give them good counsel, keep them motivated, and then when sometimes it's just time for them to go and move on. Nobody really you don't want that as a coach, but sometimes it's just the way it's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, some kids you're like, yeah, no, bye.
Yeah. Okay. You don't want to go. All right. That's great. See you later. Good luck.
Yeah. So you mentioned running your own gym. So you actually came back. You taught here at my academy for a while. And then you ended up opening Endurance Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or Endurance Training Center, you called it. So you were in that for a while. Awesome gym. I ended up buying it from you. You moved to Maryland. And then, jerk, moved away. But, so I ended up buying it from you. I took it over for 5 years, and then I ended up selling it so I could refocus on this academy here. Teaching kids, and we can talk about teaching anybody. I feel like there's a lot of crossover between the way you teach kids and the way you teach adults, because we all get bored. We all need discipline. Like the amount of adults I have come through the doors that I'm like, you could use a little discipline there, buddy. But focusing on the kids, like, are there any like core values or principles or anything that you think kids like get through Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in particular?
When it would come to core values for the kids in relation to jiu-jitsu, I'd say kind of what you said regarding there is a lot of overlap with adults, but I think it's significantly more important for the kids, because ultimately anywhere from around age 5, that's when like the personality of a human being starts to become solidified. So the earlier you teach a child about hard work, dedication, commitment, determination, and grit, the better. So if we have, let's say I've got a kid that comes in and who the same. Look, I mean, you could look out in the world what we have today. We have a lot of problem with people not taking accountability for their actions. We have a lot of problem with people who are trying to pass the buck and blame everybody else for their problems, instead of just saying, all right, this is what happened. This is what I'm going to do. And this is how I'm going to justify my actions in order to make my life better and make better decisions and work hard and work through it. Because there was a big push. I mean, we saw it growing up when we were later adults. They were doing participation trophies. Everybody was getting a trophy. Everybody was, oh, you're okay. They're just bigger than you, or they're just stronger. Like, excuses were constantly being made.
And I made that mistake. We ran a Extreme Grappling Open for a while, and it was like, oh man, if we just give all the kids medals, like I saw another tournament do that, more kids will come. And I think we did that for like 2 tournaments, and I was like, what? No, that's not what I believe in. And we stopped doing it. And the amount of parents that would come up and be like, don't you have participation medals? And I'm like, oh, you even called it that? Like, no. I'm like, no, we don't. And there's a box sitting right there. I was like, nope.
Yeah.
No, we don't. Should have trained harder. Sorry.
Yeah. And that's the thing. That's the most important thing growing up. Like, when learning how to handle defeat, failure, and then climbing yourself out of that hole, and being taught, like, as a child, that this is what happens when you lose. This is what happens when you're ill prepared, or if somebody's just better than you. That's gonna happen, no matter in whether or not you're a child or an adult. I go out for a job interview and I don't get picked up. I can't fall back on the same excuse of, well, they're just blah, 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 blah. It's, well, you don't know. Like, there could have been a better candidate for that. So reach out to them and say, hey, this is the same way that you would do a coach. But, hey, coach, what do I need to work on? I've been doing this. I've been doing that. It's not working. What do you suggest I do? I mean, I remember I applied to a fire department once before, and I didn't get picked up after the interview and the PT test and everything. So I still reached out and I said, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. If you have any advice for me about something I did right or did wrong during the interview, or any tips or that you have for me, so if I reapply another year, I might be a little bit more successful. So I think that's important to instill into the kids, especially when they're young, because when you go out and you train and you lose in a tournament, or you kind of you're the nail a lot of the times in jiu-jitsu, learning how to get up, dust yourself off, and realize that, hey, this is the way it's going to be sometimes. No excuses. It's not because, oh, we can't say they're bigger than me, or that's what happened. No, like, whether they're bigger than you, that's a resource they have, or they're stronger. That's still a resource or a skill that they have, and you need to learn to adapt to that and counter it. You have to train harder because you're not as stronger. You have to train harder because you're not as bigger. So I think teaching them about hard work versus just, throwing up excuses. Well, they're just bigger than you, or they have more training than you. Well, yeah, but that's why you compete, is to go out and test yourself and figure out what you're good at, what you need to improve upon, go back to the drawing board and try it again in 6 months. So hard work, determination, grit. And you get that a lot with wrestling. I mean, wrestling and boxing, like the kids that go out and do those sports growing up, I haven't seen.
Well, wrestling, you have to make the team, right? Like in jiu-jitsu, anybody can come in and enroll, and they get to be here because mom and dad pay for it.
Absolutely.
But with wrestling, like, you try out. You've got to work hard. You've got to make that team.
Absolutely.
And you've got to continuously do that to stay on that team. Mm-hmm. So I think, like, as far as grit and determination, I think that's one thing that some of the, the school sports have over the martial arts is you got to make the team, and just kind of piggybacking on what you're saying about like hard work and fixing things is, like, I tell a lot of the kids, just even behaviorally, when you mess up, number one, apologize. You messed up, but an apology doesn't fix it if you don't fix it. Yep. Right? So you apologize, you recognize the mistakes you made, and you improve on them. And that's experience. That's maturing. I had this conversation with a kid not too long ago. I was like, dude, like, we all mess up. Every single one of us makes mistakes. We're not perfect. We do something to hurt somebody's feelings. We do something that goes against our morals and our values. And you stop and you apologize for it to whoever you need to apologize to. Mm-hmm. You reassess the situation. You go, you know what? That was not me. That's not how I want to behave. That's not the person I want to be. And you make changes, you know, and I think too many people don't just take that simple step of making that change, and they just go, well, I mess up all the time. I just always mess things up, and they just keep doing it, and I think that's one thing that, being in a classroom with coaches and people that are just kind of not standing over you, but they're there to guide you, right? To scaffold you into like this behavior is like, you mess up, you fix it. Whether that's behaviorally, whether that's just technique in jiu-jitsu, it kind of applies. Mm-hmm. Like I always tell people, jiu-jitsu is high-speed problem solving under pressure, and that applies in every single aspect of your life.
Absolutely. I mean, especially, I totally agree. Because there's, I was here 2 weeks ago, and one of the girls who was here for the day camp, she asked me about Sunny, my dog, because I brought her in a couple weeks, like the week before, and she asked me to bring her in the next class, and I said I would. And then I had to take the truck in, I had a car rental, and blah, 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 blah. But I ended up not even coming in the next day. But something as simple as taking accountability for that. I told that student that I was going to do something for her. So when I came in on Thursday and I saw her here, I immediately went up to her and I was like, hey, just to let you know, I didn't forget about bringing Sunny in. I apologize. I'm sorry. I told you I would do something and I didn't do it. So I owe you an apology. And that's just something as simple as bringing my dog in to see the kids.
Right.
That teaches them that everyone's accountable, regardless of if you're the coach or one of the students. You are always accountable for, if you say you're going to do something, you don't do it, you need to own up to it. I mean, it's something as simple as that.
Yeah. And we're talking about kids mostly, but I think a lot of adults wouldn't do that, right? Especially to a child, somebody that has got nothing over them, right? Like somebody beneath them, somebody like, and I put that in quotes, but somebody that they don't necessarily need to be accountable to. They're not they're not paying their bills. They're not doing anything, but like just to go up to a kid and be like, hey, like I said I was going to do something. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
Sorry. Number one, here's why, not an excuse, a legitimate reason, like, and say,
yeah,
I'll bring Sunny in next time because she's so pretty. She's a good dog.
Sunny's a great dog. I think we've all had a boss, and what does that do to the kid? You tell a kid that you're going to do something, you don't do it, and it's teaching them that, well, what you told me was, one, not true, and then two, the fact that you didn't come up to me and apologize to me or even acknowledge it tells me that what you said holds no value and you don't value me. So how many times have we had an employer or a boss for all the jobs we've had growing up say something to you and then go back on it? I'm like, I'm here like helping you, trying to make you look good for your bosses. I'm putting in, I'm getting paid for it. but I can get paid doing it anywhere, working for anybody.
Yeah.
So when I put my time in for you, you need to, show at least some common courtesy and respect. And that's why it's super important, which is why what brings me back into like ruling a class with an iron fist. I think that there's a time and a place for that, but ultimately, if we as coaches don't respect the kids and give them a voice and give them an outlet, it's not going to be reciprocal. They're not going to genuinely enjoy it. They're not going to feel for the team, because how many times a day especially when you're a child, get up, you're being told what to do. Nearly 100% of the time, you've got somebody telling you, get up, get dressed, go downstairs, go eat breakfast, go brush your teeth, go let the dog out, go, do this,
Go to school.
And then you
quiet.
have all these teachers and the principals and everybody else there telling them what to do. So I try to keep that in mind when the kid steps on the mat, because one, they started jiu-jitsu because they brought it up either to their mom or their dad, or their dad or parent, mom or dad wanted to get them into it. So I try to make it fun for them, so they want to be here, so they can have a break from all the control that's surrounding their life. But it still has to be structured chaos sometimes. When I say structured chaos, it's kind of like when people use the reference herding cats. Like the little ones, man, those tiny, like the 3 to 5, that's kind of what it's like. So you have to kind of be a little bit understanding that when you've got 10 4-year-olds running around, they're not
4. They're 4.
Right? It's insane. So it's going to be very challenging. So as long as it's structured chaos for that age group, it's going to be more chaos and less structure. But as long as they're all moving and they're working together in a fashion and that's geared towards what we're working on, great. The older they get, then you can implement a lot more discipline and focused discipline, as opposed to a discipline that's a little bit broader and weaker for the little ones. Because for them, it's about learning fine motor skills, tactile learning. They're able to move in a certain way versus that rigid bipedal movement. I think I'm saying that right.
Sure.
I was an English teacher for 5 years. But
I didn't go to college.
I was a horrible speller and bad vocabulary. Really, 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 really bad vocabulary. But yeah, keeping that structured chaos for the kids is kind of important, because it doesn't, if it's too much, they're not going to enjoy it. They're not going to want to come, and they're not going to want to show up. They're not going to want to be a good teammate. They're not going to want to listen. And it's just another thing that they have to do in a day.
Yeah.
So
I try to keep that in mind. Like, so I didn't teach the kids classes for a long time. And then we started our 3 to 5 year old class, which we actually bumped it. It's now 4 to 6. Mm-hmm. The 3-year-old's just too young. Mm-hmm. But our kids coach had some health issues. He had to take a couple months off. So I stepped in. Man, I don't like kids. I do. I say that. I joke and say that. But like, dude, it's so hard. And like the limited ability of 3 to 5 year old, or 3 to 5, and even 4 to 6 year olds, I'm like, how do I teach these kids jiu-jitsu when they can barely walk?
Yeah.
And I'm being like serious about that. Like, if you tell a kid to walk like slow or like even in a pattern, it's no go. Like, they can't do it. They can barely bear crawl. They can barely. And so it's like, oh, we're literally like walking and bear crawling and doing these like basic like body movements. So I guess with that said, like, from your experience, and I think, each class is a little different, but is there a master, how do I want to say, a master structure for a class, or like, how do you typically structure a class? And then is it different for like younger kids or older kids? I know I do it completely differently, but like, what are your thoughts on that?
Oh, absolutely. Great question. So when it comes to, let's say, 3 to 5 or 4 to 5 year olds, it's all about just moving. Cause I had the same thing. I mean, when you have a class, how are you going to teach a 5-year-old kid how to do a basic armbar? I'm like, well, you're not really.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to teaching small children, like preschool age, it's about, I mean, when we go through the rules of the academy on intros, and the first thing we say is, well, it's basically everything you learn in kindergarten, how to be a good teammate. That's the ultimate goal. When you're teaching 3 to 5 year old kids how to be a good teammate and how to function with using their body, how to roll, how to move. Because the goal is, I started looking at it like the goal would be, how are they going to move when they start the kids program at 6 years old? Teaching them, all right, we're going to do forward rolls, we're going to do back rolls, we're going to work on the shrimp, we're going to work on dolphin kicks, we're going to work on bear crawls, we're going to work on elephant walks, just how to manipulate their body in a way that, one, they know how to roll and roll safely, and then 2, they understand the premise of jiu-jitsu, that it's about to have fun and being a good teammate, not trying to hurt anybody, and develop overall functional body strength. Because they're not getting a lot of that in schools now. I mean, I just now saw, I don't know if this is true or when it's going to go in place, but they just now started the presidential fitness standards again in schools, which I think is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because now, like, there's so many schools that they're getting rid of PE. We used to have PE every single day.
Yeah, same. Like, the kids don't exercise in school.
Mm-mm. Yeah,
it's crazy.
So that's ultimately the goal, because we were going every day or at least 3 times a week. But when it comes to those kids, 3 to 5, how to move, how to manipulate their body in a safe way with somebody else and kind of carry a little bit of weight or drag. We'll do like bear crawls where one of the kids will lay down and the other kid will stand over them across their belt. So they'll have their one foot on next to one hip and the other foot next to the other hip. And then they get on all fours and the other kid will reach up and either grab the belt around their waist and hook onto it, or they can grab the learning stripe side and the rank side and just hold on to it. And the other person has to bear crawl and drag that person. Yeah. So it's just about creating muscle strength and endurance and how to use their body.
Yeah. I tell a lot of parents when they come in, because they look at it and I go, look, you're going to see like your kids out here and it doesn't look like they're learning to fight. Like, because they're like, he's not choking anybody. Like, no, do you want your 4-year-old choking someone unconscious? I'm like, look, number one, your kid doesn't know how to control his own body. Yeah. Like, I'm not going to teach him to control somebody else's until he can learn to control his own. And then there was a second part to that I just can't remember at all. Mm-hmm. But fun. Like you gamify it, right? Like, it's playing, but then you kind of play these games and you go, okay, how does this translate? Well, the bully is coming, whatever. Like, we play, like, a good example, we play a game like Tackle the Giant, right? Like, I'm walking through, I'm stomping on everybody's house, and you don't want me to stomp on your house, so like you gotta approach me, and then I'm gonna swing, and you're just gonna drop down and double leg, and it's not a beautiful, like, Division I collegiate athlete double leg. It's a 4-year-old diving at your knees, grabbing them,
hoping they don't actually blow your knee out,
or headbutt themselves. But so there's little elements, but yeah, like with the little ones, it is, I feel, mostly about like having fun, getting a little discipline, and learning to control their bodies. And like, I know we have like a little curriculum, and we do it with like, it's almost like a Chinese food menu, right? It's like 1 from column A, 2 from column B, 1 from column C, right? Like,
say that again.
that's how we do it. But and it's like a 30-minute class. It's like, we do 10 minutes on this like movement warm up. We do 10 minutes on like, a technique, which is, something along the, Tackle the Giant or the steamroller or whatever, what have you. And then we do like 10 minutes on like another ju-jutsu based like exercise. So it's like drill, technique, game, if you will.
Absolutely.
So we try to keep it fun. And now some days it's only 2 of those things. Some days it's, 2 from column B. Some days it's, warm up, and man, the kids they're not in the mood today. We're gonna not try to teach them anything. We're gonna move from the warm up straight into the jiu-jitsu games, and we're just gonna hit a couple games today. Or like, hey man, you guys have been awesome the last couple weeks. Let's play some games, and every game is jiu-jitsu based, right? But they're out there having fun, and then you stop them at the end and you go, okay, why'd you play that game? Coach Lacey does one, it's called Steal the Bacon, where they have a strip of bacon, but it's like a piece of vinyl I like cut into shreds, and they tuck it in their belt. And they crawl around and they have to like steal the other person's bacon. And she's like, well, why are we doing that? And they're like, because we like bacon and we try to be thieves. And I'm like, no, you got the wrong lesson. She's like, no, because you're guarding your hips. Like you're learning to keep your elbows tight, and you're learning not to let somebody grab a hold of you, and you're learning to move and get that power side forward. And there's all these lessons, and they're like, oh, and it's like a real life Karate Kid, right? Like, wax on, wax off, paint the house, paint the fence, right? Like I did that little video showing stuff with jiu-jitsu on that. But yeah, like they're hard. Those little ones, they're difficult. What about like older kids though? Like still fun, definitely less games, definitely more technique. Do you have any like tips and we'll call them tips and tricks, any hacks, because everything's a hack these days. Coach Chris used to teach the kids every once in a while, and he had this military thing. He was a ex-Marine, and I can never remember it. I need to like text him and ask, but it was like, oh yeah, eyes open, ears, something, mouths, and they would all go click.
Well, I remember that.
I can't remember what it was.
They loved that.
Yeah.
It was great.
Yeah, it was funny.
Analogy. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff I learned, and a lot of it was traveling to different classrooms. Like I learned some stuff when I was in Australia. I learned stuff when I was in Korea. I went to Japan, like Australia. Every teacher has their own little thing that they do. For the little kids, I'll have them do some sort of something like that. If they're not paying attention, I'll clap and I'll go eyes on. Eyes on who, and then I'll clap when I say it, and they have to go eyes on you, pew pew pew, or whatever, something like that. Or however you want to do it. But
that's why I remember you doing that now.
Or if they're getting loud or noisy, it's kind of like it's like we have 3 dogs at the house, right? When dogs are barking and and I start barking or I start yelling at the dog. If I yell at the dogs, like then they're like, yeah, like, cool, yeah, we'll make a noise, yeah, like. So it's same thing with the kids.
And then you yell, you're like, no,
that's not what I wanted.
I'll yell louder.
So for the kids, if they start getting loud or noisy, I'll stand in the front, get in front of them, and I start speaking, and then I start lowering the volume of my voice. So, and eventually, a couple kids will pick up on it, and then they'll start policing each other. That's a way to kind of get control of a classroom. But for structure for the adult or for the older kids, it's usually 30 to 45 minutes. We do a functional warm up, not just running, because I think they can run anywhere. Yeah. I mean, not many people just enjoy running as a warm up. So I try to do partner based warm ups for obviously geared toward jiu-jitsu or combat or self defense, and then I give them a little bit more. I guess you could say a little bit more independence. I don't want to say freedom, but a little bit more independence with their training and their commitment to being disciplined themselves. Because ultimately, if I'm over them and somebody's over you and yelling at you when you're a child, like how many more times am I going to get yelled at today?
Yeah.
So I'll approach them and I'm like, what's going on? You need help with something? Right? Is this gonna help you get to where you're going? Is this gonna help you be a good teammate? I just ask them questions and help them reel themselves in. And if they need a minute, if they're acting up, I'm like, all right, why don't you go take a minute, take a break, go get a drink, go use the restroom, and then when you're ready to work hard,
be a good teammate,
be a great teammate, come back in, and we'll get after it. Sound good? Bam, and then fist bump, high five, whatever, and then move on. Because ultimately, when I'm in a bad mood and if somebody starts hollering at me, that definitely does not help.
Right.
So
somebody tells you to calm down.
Just calm down. What's wrong with you?
Calm down. You need to calm down.
But so it's I just address them a little bit. I address it differently. Yeah. I approach it differently because ultimately everybody's entitled to having a bad day. So I let them work it out. But the structure's the same. Warm up, technique, and then rolling. And I still play games with the older kids. It's a little bit like, there's one I play I like a lot. It's dodge sprawl and duck shoot. So dodge sprawl is like I started doing this at Endurance. They would all circle up, and I tried having one of the kids in the middle, but it just became, when it was new, it became too difficult for them to get it to continue have a nice flow. So I was in the middle, and I'd have a big Bosu ball, or not a Bosu ball, but yes, thank you. And the rules were you had to be in control of the ball at all times. If it comes near you, you need to control it. If it hits you, you're out. If you catch it, you're out. If it and you're supposed to sprawl on it, and then pop up immediately, and then roll it back to the person in the center, which is, for the first couple weeks, it's the coach. Once the kids get a handle on it, and then you can bring one of the better teammates in, and they can the ball is to always be moving.
Right.
So you're in the middle, surrounded by the kids, and you just roll it to a ball, roll the ball to a kid real fast, and they have to sprawl on it, pop up, and roll it back to you, and you immediately turn and roll it to another kid. Yep. So it works on their sprawling, and then their ability to pop up and then move again instead of just sprawling and waiting, because you need to be a sprawl, pop up, and then maybe you take a shot, or that kid takes a shot. So it gets them in the habit of sprawling and also controlling the ball instead of, so if also they sprawl on the ball and they bounce off or are not in control of themselves, then they're out. So
what, this sounds great. This sounds very like, man, visualizing, you're doing a great job of like describing this. Mm-hmm. In reality, it doesn't, like, it's a great drill. Like, don't get me wrong, but the reality of it, it's hilarious because half the kids can't sprawl right. So what you get is like you roll the ball at them and they jump up in the air and they come down on it straddled like they're on a horse, and then they bounce and they typically go flying sideways. And I'm like, that's not right.
No, that's not right.
Or a kid jumps in front, like you roll it to, the kid at 2:00 and the kid at 1:00 and 3:00 try to dive in because I don't know if their depth perception's not on or what, but so it's a great drill. We did that recently. We had a giant class. So I had me in the center and I had another kid in the center. So there was two of us, and we were both of us just flinging it. And that actually went really well. But yeah, so like, if you're a gym with a bigger class, we can start just adding people. You could have 2, even 3 people in like that center, that nucleus, just rolling it out. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
Kids,
it works great.
Yeah.
And then let's say when we're for the adult class, or not, I've actually done that with the adults. Yeah. With a bigger book, and it's still fun.
That's what I said. Like, how often as an adult do you get to play? Like, dude,
we don't
put those kids games in the adult classes, and like, some adults try to be hard. You stupid, I ain't playing no games. And they get out there and they're like giggling little girls.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
it's a fun little game.
Absolutely.
And then I'll do
duck sprawl.
So yeah, we do a duck shoot, which is a variation of that instead of a ball, so you still circle up, and then there's a person that circles or that shuffles around in the center, facing everybody, and you have to double high five everybody. And the rules are you can't go around the circle without taking a shot on somebody. And then as soon as you high five somebody, you can never cross your feet. You always have to be ready. The people on the outside have to be ready. Hands up, elbows in a good wrestling stance. And so you have to be ready for that person. Once they double high five, they're going to duck under and immediately take a shot on you, or they might not. They might go to the next person. So it helps the sprawl, it helps the reaction, it helps the shot. And then if you get taken down, all right, great, good job. And you just swap. The other person comes in, or you can change it up however you like. Right. But that works really great. I've done that with the adults too. Yeah. And it works. It's fun. It's still fun, man. And you can do the dodge sprawl against, you can have 2 people facing each other. Like, let's say you're doing King of the Hill and you've got 2 people out, you don't have enough space, you can have active rest. So the 2 kids that are out, give them a ball and they can start like 10 feet apart, and they have to like roll it to each other really fast, sprawl, pop up and roll it back. Yeah. And then once they get, that's easier. then you challenge it and have them move closer together.
Oh, that's a good one.
And then you just move them. Or if there's somebody by themselves, have them bounce it off of the wall, roll to the wall, boom, pop up, sprawl, pop up. But those games, sorry about that. Those games work really well. Structure for the older kids, they're great. One of the things that I did that I liked is I had an ethos for the kids. So
I will say, when I bought endurance from you, like we had it was still there, and man, I kind of let it slip. Where I wasn't doing it. Like I started it a little bit, and then just over time, and we just didn't do it anymore. And then it was like one day I just stopped and I was like, oh my God, we don't do the ethos anymore. It's right there. We even had it. We had the rash guards made, and they had the logo, and in the back of the rash guards, we had the ethos written like cool. It was like the Declaration, right? Like in that kind of same font set. Those are really cool rash guards. But sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, the ethos is great because it starts out, they'll start with part of the saying, and the rest of the class will finish the saying, and it's just a bunch of positive reinforcement. I guess you could say affirmations. Yeah. But I just picked them from all these motivational speakers, all these great phrases that are coming up, like Les Brown. I love Les Brown. He's a phenomenal motivational speaker. I listen to that guy all the time. And he has one where at the end of it, he's like, it's not over until I win. So it's, I mean, even though I say it sometimes I still get goosebumps, but like when you hear the kids say it, it's like, that's cool. Like, and I would think Ed, I don't know if you remember Ed, he came in, he's a bigger guy, and he had 2 younger boys that trained with him. And he pulled me aside after class one time, and he says, I just want to let you know, blah, blah, we were at home and this and that, doing this. And one of the boys asked for something for dinner or something like that. And I said, that's going to take too long or whatever. And then he goes, well, it's not over yet. It's not over. He made some reference to part of the ethos that we said in jiu-jitsu. And then he just looked at me. He's like, that's awesome, right? I was like, yeah, that's cool. That's cool. And he was just talking. And so the ethos helps a lot, just creating that positive mindset of you can do this. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging, but this is something we talk about. This is what we train for. We train to get tougher. We train to get better. And then some days you're going to have hard days, but shake it off and keep on going.
Yeah. So it was like you did at the beginning and at the end, right? Like it was like a 2-part. Yeah.
So we had a different one. It was like 4 or 5 sentences in the beginning, and then a different 4 or 5 sentences at the end. And I thought it was a good positive. I don't really like the phrase affirmation, but just a positive motivational, like self-talk versus, I mean, how many times you go out and you're like, oh man, I should have done this. Oh, that was, and you start beating yourself up. Right. And then it affects how you think about yourself, and it just affects your mood. So it's just trying to create that positive environment, that positive self-talk, positive mindfulness for the kids too. So that helps. Yeah. Actually, I had a kind of a long conversation with a student last night. He was like, hey, at Hatsugeko, which we do New Year's Day training, right? And so Hatsugeko means first training. He was asking me, he's like, you spoke about like not conceding negativity and about manifestation and stuff. He's like, can we talk about that for a minute? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, hold on, let me pull up my notes from I was like, okay, yeah. I was like, I remember what I was talking, because off the top of my head, I was like, man, that was 8 months ago now. And but yeah, it was just like, don't concede the negativity. And like, if you believe that you can manifest positivity in your life, you can manifest negativity, right? So what you put the most attention to, you're going to get. And what you put the most focus on, you're going to see. Mm-hmm. If I'm focused on all the positive things, I'm going to see the positive and not the negative. If I'm focused on the negative, I'm going to see the negative and not the positive. So which way do you want to lead your life, right? Live your life. And which way is going to be more beneficial in the long run? Like if we can teach these young kids to see the positive things and to work for those positive things and to focus on those, they're going to be more successful than the kids that are always, crying about whatever and what was me and why'd this happen to me and everything's always my fault and everything's bad. And so, yeah, no, I love it, man. It's awesome. That was a big failure that I had in
in teaching that kid and taking over that whole program, right, is like you had this really cool ethos, and it was even something I thought was cool and I believed in, and I just let it fall to the wayside. So,
I mean, when you're the only, even when you just have one academy and you're the head coach and you're also the janitor and you're the accountant and you're the marketing guy, and you have multiple, even if you have somebody else that's helping you out, there are a lot of hats when you own a gym, and then everything else with basic life. So, I mean, stuff falls by the wayside, and that's probably, I think that's one of the things that I learned the hardest lesson was that when you own your own gym or own your own business, whatever it is, when you start something, like you wear every single hat that's accompanied or associated with trying to not only just start up a business, but run it. And when you're in charge of everything, something's getting left out.
Oh yeah.
That's part of it.
And people don't realize that. Like, guys think like, oh, I do jiu-jitsu. I'm really good at jiu-jitsu. I'm a black belt or whatever. I'm going to open this gym and everybody's going to show up. And no, no, they're not. They're just not. Like, because your average person doesn't know the difference between this 6-time world champion, 4th degree black belt, and Joe Schmo who got his black belt online. Mm-hmm. Like, they don't. They have no concept. Like whoever runs the best gym is going to get the better students and the most students. Yeah. So yeah, like this gym here, we've been open 25 years, and it took me about 8 before I figured anything out. Like, I struggled for the first 8 years. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is crazy. This is so hard. But then being open a long time presents its own challenges too. Like, mixed level classes, right? So like, I've got kids that have been here on and off or even on for years, and they're high level. And then you get kids that have been here for a class or two. It's their first class. Yeah. So like, if you come to our kids class, we had, I think, 36 in the other night, and like half of the kids have been here for a year plus, and half of those kids have been here for 1 to 6 months, it's hard to, like, especially if there's one coach. If there's a whole bunch of coaches, we typically have one head coach and a couple like assistants. But was there ever like a time where you had a situation or classes like that where you're like, okay, I kind of figured this out. So like, we're all doing barambolos the whole time. Barambolos with a flying squirrel, like omoplata, right? New kid, get on it, right? So there's got to be, because there's some kids that are like, yeah, that's what I want to learn that. That sounds cool, right? Mm-hmm. And they could probably do it. As far as like mixed level classes go, like, how did you handle that?
That's a great challenge, because one, teaching kids is not like teaching adults. You have 45 minutes, which is not a lot of time. Even when you have 30 minutes for the tiny ones, like that's nothing. Especially if your class management or classroom time management's off. So 45 minutes, and you've got 2 or 3 different skill levels of kids. So I kind of teach it like when I've got the adults. So there's the fundamentals class, which is basic ABCs of jiu-jitsu. And then there's the other class, then there's the regular jiu-jitsu where you're teaching everything from white belts with a few stripes up to brown belts. So
it's like an all levels type deal. Yeah.
And that's kind of how it ends up. So how do you handle that? All right, well, warm-ups are going to be the same because warm-ups are functional for jiu-jitsu and functional for combat. So everything's going to be the same when it comes to that. But then for the technique, it's okay. We're going to do the basic challenge technique for, let's say it's a series of sit-up sweep to the Kimura, or sit-up sweep, failed Kimura, sit back for your guillotine, or whatever, however you would like. And then that'll be for the kids that have, to come in and they're still starting to learn. And then for the kids that have some skill, that's old hat for them. They already know. So I'll pull them aside, like, okay, you guys already know this, so we can do a different little challenge for you guys. We're going to work on, let's say if somebody does a sit-up sweep, we're going to work on, I'm going to posture up, put hand on the hip, take a big step over, take the back, work for a series submission series off of the back, defending the sit-up sweep or countering the sit-up sweep. Just giving them something different to do because, I mean, when it comes to jiu-jitsu, a lot of things can become monotonous, and that's the biggest challenge for kids. Is they're like you can get bored because kids learning something as a child is going to be a lot easier for them versus learning something as an adult. Because when you're young, your mind is like a sponge. You can absorb so much more information versus when you're adult, we're told no so many times. Like growing up, no, don't do that. No, don't do this. No, don't do this. So our ability to learn or the creativity aspect side of our minds just gets shut down and chopped and chopped and chopped. So we were just like, okay. And we learned this one static way. And then that's how we function the rest of our lives. But like Montessori schools do a good job of promoting different ways kids learn. So they try not and say no, or they'll try to gear towards, all right, why don't you try thinking this way, or try it this way, or try it another way, instead of, no, don't do it this way, do it this way. I'm like, yeah, that's good to teach them that way, but you're not teaching them how to learn, and that's the point. So if you have, like, it's kind of like when in kids class, how many times have you heard something, the kids who likes this, or you ask a class a general question, and then some random kid's like, my dad has diabetes, or like something silly that has no reference, and it's like,
some dogs are brown.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you're right. Thank you for telling me that. But so what about? Do you have anything about jiu-jitsu or about this? So instead of just saying, don't say things like that, it just shuts him down, and it's like, well, I was trying to share. I'm like, yeah, you were. That's great. But let's focus on this instead. Yeah. You can tell, that's great. I want to learn more about that after class. But right now, let's do this. So it's all in how you are addressing and speaking to a kid that will either help them try harder next time or prevent them from even attempting it next time.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's something simple as it drives me crazy sometimes when we're talking to a kid who's, even as an adult, drives me crazy. The redundant rhetorical questions when you know I don't know the answer. Like a kid's not paying attention, and it's like you ask them a question about what we just learned. Well, they don't know it because that's why you're speaking to them. But don't ask them this, because then it shames them in front of the entire class, and then it shuts them down. They don't feel good. They're not happy, and they got embarrassed in front of everybody. Yeah. So it's like, okay, well, if somebody isn't paying attention, what I'll do is I'll engage them into what I'm doing, which forces them to pay attention. And it also gives them it gives them engaged in what's actually happening instead of me yelling at them or them getting just yelled at. It brings them, refocuses them, and gets them directly involved in it. So that way they're going to know what's going on instead of being shunned or being called out in class in front of everybody.
Right. I also, like, along those lines, like I try not to correct a kid, like just over and over, like, even if they're trying, right? Like, so like generally, like, you give them the compliment sandwich. Oh, hey, you're doing a great job, but let's try it this way. Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. Good improvement. Right. So like praise, correct, praise, however you want to look at that. But then also, like, you come over, you fix it, and then they get it, and then they mess it up a little bit. Or maybe they get one detail and they mess up another, and then you fix it again, and then you give them another detail, and it's like, okay, 3's enough. Yeah. Like, now you're overloading them. Now they feel stupid because, like, they're just not getting it. But yeah, just, I know a lot of people sit and they're just like, no, here, here. And you praise the effort, right? Oh man, good job. Good effort. Okay, cool. And man, I'm teaching like deep half guard stuff this week. And I have a brand new guy in class, and it's like, okay, all right, we're 4 days into the deep half lesson, but you're going to work on the day one stuff. Yep. And it's like, how good was that? Was it passable? Yeah. Cool. No, good job. Yeah. Do that a few times. And then I come back and I go, oh, hey man, all right, I want you to get a little deeper. It's called deep half guard. Right? So it's a little deeper below the knee line. Yep. Sweet. Good enough. And I don't even watch him. I'm like,
Yeah.
I liked the role you had before. Now you change your leg's placement. I'm going to move on and help the next person, right? So and adults and kids are the same, right? Like, yeah, you don't want to embarrass an adult in front of everybody. Sometimes they're worse because they're not used to it, And
Yep.
But yeah, so.
And that's the thing too, man. You're in a position. I mean, you're a coach, so you're kind of in a position of authority. But here, ultimately, as a coach, our job is to provide. I mean, we're educators, so ultimately, anybody that comes into the academy, they have 1,000 other things they could be doing. And the last thing, they also have maybe a spouse at home that needs something. You got kids at home that need something. They got a boss that needs something. I try not to be negative.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, or I try not to be a taker. I try to provide. Because ultimately, they've got everybody else that wants something from that person throughout their entire existence outside of here. So when they come in here, I'm like, what do you need? How can I help you? Because ultimately, that's why they come here. They want to be a part of a team. They want to be valued. So when you have somebody that comes in, whether even an adult, especially a child, when they come in there, how you doing? What are you working on today? Or how you feeling today? Especially the kids that have bad days. Everybody's entitled to having a bad day. But how it's handled is super important. Even adults, man. Adults can have bad days too. They come in and they're in a bad mood, and working out's great for it, but you still need to keep your temper and your emotions under control. And that's the other thing about teaching kids, like especially in a combat sport. They need to understand that some days, like, you have to control your emotions and be able to and harness and control your ability to, whether it's talk a bunch in class or not talk a bunch in class. That's another super important thing for like the little ones, the 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds. Like occasionally in class, like I'd let them run around, do something, do an activity. And I'm like, okay, I'd count it out from either 10 down to 0 or 5 down to 0, depending on how they are that day, whether or not they're going to need more time. Like, all right, toe the line, silence, throw a bubble in your mouth. That gets them to stop talking.
Yeah.
That's another little trick. I'm like, all right, bubbles in your mouth, toe the line, 1, 2, 3, 10-second countdown, go, 10, 9. And then they all have to run and this and that, bubble in their mouth. Show me you're ready. That's another one that I would do. I'd have them say, show me you're ready, instead of giving them a direct order. It's on actually what to do. Show me that you're ready to go. Yeah. Show the team that you're ready to go. Show your teammates you're good to go. 5, 4, and then it kind of settles down and it helps them focus.
Yeah,
super important as a kid.
I have for the older kids class, I've got the 5-minute rule. So kids come in, they're always here early. I'm like, guys, you can get on the mat, you can play reasonably. Like a little tag, you're seeing your buddies, you've been in school, you've been having a horrible day all day, you come to jiu-jitsu, you should enjoy it. Come in and have a good time. Number 1, be quiet. Don't disrupt anything, don't break anything, don't hurt each other. I'd prefer you to drill, do some jiu-jitsu, to practice some takedowns, practice something you've been working on, get your game plan sheets out, what have you. Most of the time they just run and play, right? They catch up.
Yeah.
No problem.
Awesome.
One of you, at least, if not every single one of you, is responsible for watching the clock. When the clock says 5, 5, 5, you are on the line, hands to yourself, faces forward, no talking. And I always go, no talking, no touching, no breathing. They're like, you can breathe a little bit, just enough to stay alive. And then usually, and unless I have to, because there's some nights where it's 5:56, and there's still kids talking and stuff. And I'm like, hey, what time is it? Cool.
Yeah.
They all know what it means. They go to the line. And then, of course, they can't stand there for 5 minutes. And they sit and and then they're like, oh, and then they have to touch and grab. And I'm like, are you standing still? Questions, right? But usually I'll let them stand there just for like a minute or two until I feel them like, whoa. And again, if it's me teaching, and then I'll just start at the beginning of the line, and I put my mean face on, and every kid knows my mean face is like me trying not to laugh. And I just walk the line. I look them in the eye, look at their belts, fix a belt if I need to, just give mean faces. Sometimes I'm like, how was your day? I like your pink bow. And they're like,
Yeah.
do not talk to me.
It's like that, have them line up when you've got that like squeaky chicken and then you put it in their face.
Yeah.
Don't laugh. Don't laugh. That's great.
Yeah, that breaks the kids. Oh man, that's funny. What about when they're disruptive? Like, do you have like a good like formula, because we actually put a thing out. I filmed a video. We gave the parents notes. It's kind of, we do like a one and done rule. Okay. Mm-hmm. And you could feel free to be like, that's horrible. And as a college educated teacher, that's bad. But what I mean by one and done is like, you do something, we're going to give you like a warning, right? Hey, don't do that. And it's like jiu-jitsu. It's a term. Yeah. You get a warning, you get a penalty, and then you get another penalty. So it's like, it's warning, and then there's a correction, right? Okay. So we like to build a house. Kid comes over, hands and feet on the ground, butt up, till I'm ready, till I get tired. I always tell them. And then beyond that, like, man, you're just out of class today. Mm-hmm. Like, and in 25 years of teaching, like, that's happened maybe a handful of times. Like, they know, because it's like, hey, don't do that. And then they keep doing it. Hey, don't do that. And then they keep doing it. Hey, don't do that. Which brings me to the other point of like, don't just tell them not to do, tell them what to do, right?
Correct.
They're like, well, okay, well, if I'm not doing this, what am I supposed to be doing? They need the option, right? Like, hey, let's not do jumping jacks while he's trying to sweep you. Like, be a good partner. Here's what I need you to do because sometimes they just don't know, right? Like, you're showing one position. Well, what does the other person do? You know? And you got to tell them, oh, well, okay, top person. The amount of times I go, all right, even in the adult class, okay, guys, you got to be a good partner. Here's what the partner needs to do, you know. And Correct. It's always after I've shown the move, and I'm like, all right, guys, let's go, boom. And I'm walking around. I'm like, why are people laying like I call it chalk outline? Like they're just
like a murder scene in here.
Yeah, they're just laying there. And I'm like, okay, she's like, all right, class, everybody come in. Look, here's what I need the top person to do, or here's what I need the bottom person to do. Like don't fight, but like don't be dead either. Like give some aliveness, right? So, do you have like a good formula for like disruptive behavior?
So yes, so there's either disruptive behavior because of attitude and just not being off that day.
Yeah.
Or there's disruptive behavior because they just don't know what's going on. Yep. Two different things. So first off, you got to figure out what's what. If it's because they're just not knowing what to do, and then that's an easy fix. So one of the things you can do is involve that kid and involve that child that doesn't know what's going on, or that student doesn't know what's going on, demonstrate with them. And then what I'll do is I can have one of the experienced students come in, and then they'll demonstrate it together. So I'll have the student that's knows what's going on, and they'll respond or react accordingly. So that way,
because they see another kid doing it.
Yes. Yeah. It's great. And I might have to do that a couple times, and that's fine, because it's just all it is just reinforcing proper instruction, and then bringing another kid in. So a lot of now, if it's basic discipline, kids being a jerk face, then it's handled a little bit different. Pull them aside. And anytime, I would say over 90% of the time when I'm talking to children or students, I try to be on their same level, whether I'm adult or not. I try not to stand over them and talk down to them unless it's part of the game that day. I'm giving them a hard time. I'm moving them around, being playful. Totally fine.
I think a lot of people miss that. I was actually going to make it a point to bring that up, is like when you're talking to kids, especially when it's kind of a heart-to-heart type deal, right? Like where like you need that kids to hone into what you're saying. Like, don't stand over them. Like, kneel down, get on their level. Like,
correct.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that is just a position of inferior and superior, and nobody likes it. And it's not teaching them common courtesy or respect. It's teaching them to fear. And that's not okay. Like so same level, eye to eye, and then I'm like, hey, You okay? You is everything okay today? Because ultimately they could have something going on. They might be having a bad day, and you might not know what's going on.
Loss of a dog, grandparent, something, right?
Something's going on. I mean, I remember I was on a flight once, and this kid next to me, and he was 15, 16 years old, young kid, and he was in the middle, and I was on the window, and he kept bumping me, moving around, bumping me, and I was in my mind, I'm getting annoyed, and then I thought about it for a second. I'm like, okay, how can I address this in a way that makes this? I can react how my emotions will react, or how can I address it in a manner that's going to actually solve my problem? So I was like, okay, it happened again for like the 12th or 13th time. He kept like bumping me and elbowing me, and
how old's this kid?
15, 16.
Okay. That's what I thought. So way old enough to know better. Yeah.
And so I'm on the flight, and this happens again. So finally, I look down and I turn to the kid, and I'm like, "Are you okay? Like, are you okay, buddy? Is everything, are you all right?" And he stops, and he looks at me, and he's like, "Yeah, man, why?" I was like, "Well, you bumped into me like half a dozen times or a dozen times, man. Like, you're moving around a lot. Like, are you okay?" And he's like, "Oh no, thanks, man. I'm okay. I'm okay. Thanks though. I appreciate it." I'm like, "All right, cool. I'm just checking, man. Like, you're just checking. Awesome. Cool. Thanks." Didn't happen the rest of the flight.
Yeah.
Like, because if I'm like, "Hey man," then it's not going to help. It's not going to solve my problem.
Or you yell at him, and then you find out he has like a neurological disorder and he can't sit still, and now you're the jerk face.
Correct. Right. So, and it's just that. So anytime there's discipline issue, I'm like, "Hey," I pull him aside. I'm like, "All right, guys, go ahead and do this. Are you okay? Is everything all right?" Because I'm like, "Oh, why? Well, you're doing this, and you know that's not part of the rules, right?" Okay. So what can we do? What can we do to solve this and that? And I have it just work through it.
Yeah.
And then do that once, maybe twice. If it happens again on the third time, I'm like, but once or twice, those first two times, if it happens on that second time and I have to pull them aside again, I'm like, okay, this is the second time, you know what's going on. So here's what's going to happen. You can change follow the rules and do X, Y, and Z, or you can continue down this path and this is what's going to happen. You're just going to sit to the side because you're taking time away from everybody else. And then do you want me to take time away from everybody else? Or do you want to sit to the side, or you want to train and play and have fun with your friends? And I give them an option.
Yeah.
And those are the options. Those are the only two options. You can go down this path and continue this way, and you're just going to sit in the side, sit in the corner. You're not going to leave.
Yeah. You're going to watch everybody else.
And then everybody else is going to know. And then you're going to miss out on jiu-jitsu, and you're still going to bow out with us because you still have to high five your teammates, shake their hands, my hand. You're still part of the team, but you're going to sit to the side. Do you want to do that, or you want to have fun, train with the team the rest of the day, and be a good teammate, and just move on and forget the mistake and learn from it, move on? I give them the option, and 9 times out of 10 they make the right choice and then correct the behavior, move on. Has there been times where of course, they're human. They're going to be stubborn or whatever. All right, that's fine. Then go have a seat. I don't address it the rest of the time. You made your decision, even if it's 20 or 30 minutes. I'm like, you made that decision. You're done for the day. And then I'll bring it up to the parents, let them know what happened, this and that. But I'm like, okay, the other thing I bring up is that, hey, mom and dad sacrificed to bring you here. I make sure that all the kids know that I've done it here a couple of times I'm like, okay, who are the people that absolutely love you the most in this entire universe? I'm like, oh, mom and dad. I'm like, it's the people that are in your home that sacrifice for you, because mom and dad have a lot of other things they could do. They're paying for you to bring you jiu-jitsu. They pay for your uniform. They're bringing you here, time out of your day. See, they're sitting waiting for you right now. So what's the best way for you to say thank you to mom and dad? And I'll raise your hand. And the other thing is how I ask questions. Raise your hand if you think you know the best way to say thank you to mom and dad for bringing you here. Usually it's one of the more experienced kids. They'll raise your hand, and then once they raise their hand, I'll call on them, and it's like, work hard. Great, beautiful answer. And another thing is how I praise them. If I just say good job all the time, if I just say good, that's a generic response.
Right.
So I'm like, beautiful. I love that. oh, I'm going to work hard. I want to be a good teammate. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. And it's also the energy and how you present something. Because if I just say, good job,
right.
high five, good job, high five, it's robotic, it's mundane.
Yep.
Doesn't provide any actual feeling to it. And it's not going to make them feel good. It's just, oh, he just said that's the same thing that everybody else, whatever. It doesn't mean anything. So yeah, I'll give them the option if it's based on whether they're disruptive because they don't know what's going on or it's disruptive behavior. And I address it accordingly to those two things. And if they're done, they're done and they can't come back in class.
Yeah.
That's fine because that's the choice they made and they have to stick with it. And if it's to the point where the kid is just consistently becoming disruptive, then I have terminated membership before for a child. Because ultimately I have people, I think I'm not afraid to do that because I have a responsibility to 45 other parents, 100 other parents, 45 other students who are paying for that class. I have a responsibility to them and I'm not going to sacrifice that for somebody that isn't ready. Now, if they want to come back again, be like, hey, you know what? You take 6 months, take a month, take some time off, and then come back and we can try it again later.
Yeah.
Because if my entire class is spent trying to maintain behavior problems that have not been adjusted at home, well, the other students are sacrificing, the other parents, the other households are sacrificing, and my responsibility is to the team as a whole. So,
and then you're going to lose the ones you want there.
Correct. Absolutely.
I don't know if I ever told you this. I had when I was running endurance, I had a kid and he was just always just dead fish, just never did what he was supposed to do. And man, I tried my best and he was there for months and like some nights were okay, but most of it, there was always something, right? There was always something. And one night we're doing something so basic and he's like, supposed to be standing and he's on his knees, or he's supposed to be on his knees and he's standing, whatever. And I was like, hey buddy, where are we supposed to be at here? And he just gives me attitude. And I was like, oh, okay. Probably good I don't have kids because I would have punched my kid just right in the face. But I was like, okay, well, that was a question. I get down and I'm there and I was like, well, you're supposed to be on your knees. Because he's working this guard technique, right? I was like, so I pat him on the back and I'm like, go ahead and get in the position you're supposed to. And he said something and he didn't do what he was supposed to do. And I was like, something wrong. And I was still being nice. And then I was like, go to your knees. And I kind of pushed him, just not, just enough, pushed him forward. And this kid jumps up and he's like, I effing hate it here. And I laughed. I didn't laugh out loud, but I was like, ooh, off the mat.
Yep.
And I made him go and he went and he sat in the lobby and I was like, oh, and I'm covering my mouth. I was mad, but it was it just caught me so off guard. I was trying not to laugh. And I look at all the other parents and they're all double hands and they're all trying not to laugh and they're like, oh my God. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't even know how to, this kid's 6 years old. I'm like, what just happened here?
He's probably from somewhere.
7, right? And so I call his dad and I was like, and this was at the beginning. I called his dad. I was like, hey man, you need to come get him. And I went out to talk to him and he was just he was on it. He was just not backing down. He was right. He was had every right to cuss me out. And I was like, oh my God, what is, And so I called his dad and I have his dad come in and I was like, hey man, we've got to do something. I was like, I don't know if something's going on at home. And and I'm being real I feel for the kid and his family's got money and stuff. They were pretty well off. And I was like, man, I don't know if something's going on at home, but and his dad's like, no, blah, blah, blah. And being real nonchalant. And I told him what happened and he laughed. And I was like, okay, I'll give you the laugh because I laughed. And then he was like, yeah, that's just how he is.
Nope, unacceptable.
Exactly. I was like, cool. Yeah, I'm going to cancel you guys' membership.
Yeah.
Yeah. if you want to look for some other place, I gave him a couple of names. I was like, no, that's, I mean, obviously we're not making corrective behaviors at home. So it's okay to fire members. Right?
Absolutely.
Like you have to.
Absolutely. And that's a thing that.
But we laughed about that. Like all the parents, every class for like weeks. I'd walk into like, you want to get cussed out today, coach? I'm like, I don't know.
Maybe
we'll find out.
See. Yeah, that's one thing I was very hesitant. Probably my biggest mistake as a new gym owner and a coach is I tried to make everybody happy.
Yeah, you don't want to lose anybody.
Yeah. And when you try to make everybody happy, nobody's happy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I spent most of my formative years when I was working part-time jobs, when I was in college and this and that, just retail, customer service.
Yep.
So you're just...
Customer's always right.
Yeah. You're just doing whatever you can to make everybody happy and sacrificing this. And what happens is you end up sacrificing your goals and you're sacrificing like the ideology that you have of your own... of your dream and your gym and everything, you start bending that, and then it just becomes watered down, and nobody's happy.
Yeah.
So firing clients, firing students, that's something I wish I would have done super early.
Yeah. And it's hard when you first open a gym. Like, there's expenses, right? Like you kind of need every dollar, and then like as a coach, you also. Sometimes those members that like, especially kids, it's always hardest when it's a kid, right? Yeah. An adult, we had an issue with an adult recently. Like the one night I was gone and you taught, we had an issue. But kids, they need this good positive influence and role models, and they need to work with a team, and they need this stuff. And so, man, like anytime I have to like have a kid removed and again, it's only happened a handful of times, if that, but man, it's heartbreaking. You know what I mean? It sucks. Even when they're a bad kid, you're just like, bad kid equals bad adult if there's not corrective behavior.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's like, that's why we have kids programs. That's why we have parents bring their kids in, because they want to learn teamwork, discipline, self-control, and grit. They want them to learn these behaviors that will teach them to be functional, strong, independent, hardworking adults that are not parasitic.
Right.
And that's what we have right now. We have a lot of adults that don't know how to do those things. Yeah. Because for various reasons. But that's the benefit. I mean, I don't know if you remember the Fraser boys. I don't know if I should use their names. Well, it doesn't matter. So I had two brothers that trained with me, and then their father started training with me. Father was a Marine, and one of them just recently reached out to me a couple weeks ago, and he's in Annapolis at the Naval Center there. And he was the older of the boys. And he said, "Hey, coach, I don't know if you remember me, blah, blah, blah. My name's Tommy. I train with you." I'm like, "Of course I remember you." Like, the kid wrestled. He just went in, and I think he started training with me when he was like 7 or 10. And then he had wrestled for 5 years before that. So he was obviously going to be good. Yeah. Great attitude. Came in, knew how to work hard. And then I'm talking to him, and he's telling me what's going on with his life. He's in the Naval Academy. I'm following on social media now. He's telling me all these awesome things he's doing. And yesterday I saw he posted something, a video of him in the back of a jet flying over, nice. Like, I forget, I don't know where he was, but he was over the water, and he's just like, "See where I am?" I'm like, "You're 20 years old, and you're in the back of a jet, and you're going to the Naval Academy." These amazing things that these kids are doing now. And like, you get goosebumps thinking about like, and I didn't create that. Like, his great mom and dad did, and everything that they provided to him. Yeah. But knowing that you were a part of, that kid growing up, and then now they're becoming a functional member of society, they're a strong adult. And another parent reached out to me, and she was like, and she sent me pictures of her daughter who's graduating high school now. And to my mind, Sophie's still 11. Right. She's still 11 years old and this tall, but she sends me pictures of her cap and gown now, and she's she's going to college. It's crazy. But that's why we want them to help create these strong members of society so they can be strong, functional adults. And so when you have somebody have a kid that comes in that's not getting it at home, and they're solely relying on us to provide it, and they're not getting any reinforcement. And it's like, I can't sacrifice 15 other students or 20 other students. So you kind of have to like, okay, well, let's try again later.
Yeah.
Let's try again later. Not right now. You got a lot going on. It's troublesome, but let's come in later and we'll try it again.
Yeah.
Keep you going.
Yeah.
But it's hard, you know?
Yeah. I had a student years ago, probably the worst kid I've ever had. And man, I ended up doing private lessons with him off to the side. I was like, dude, like, I want to do this because like this kid needs some guidance. So I did him for free 2 times a week. He wasn't allowed in the group classes, but we worked on things like focus on, man, I would just have him do like basic drills where he would just sit and like focus on something. And we would do a lot of talking. We did jiu-jitsu, but it was a lot of like just being aware of himself and like his feelings. You know, I was like playing psychologist, right? But man, I did all these things, and I mean, months went by. Like I don't teach privates very often. I was like, this kid is so bad. Like, and his parents were, you know, like they were cool. Like I liked them, and so I worked with this kid. We finally got him back into the class, and everything was good. Everything was great, and slip up here, slip up there, and then I was traveling for a tournament or something, and apparently he just like looks up at one of the parents and again, like, I don't know, 8 years old maybe, and just like starts cussing out some parents, and then goes and tells his parents like, hey, these ladies were cussing me out and stuff. And like, you know, like an unbelievable story. Well, the mom texts me and she's like, hey, we need to talk, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yep. Okay. So I set a timer like when, you know, to call her, and I was going to call her and be like, yeah, this kid, we're done. Like, we're done. Sorry. And she called me like a couple minutes before my timer went off. And she's like, I have to pull him out. He attacked another kid at school today, and it took 6 adults to pull him off. And this is like an 8-year-old, right? And I was like, oh,
yep, okay.
that sucks. All right, bye. Yep. Click. Not really. I mean, I felt for it, but it was just like, yeah, I mean, I was making the right choice, and then the choice was made for me, right? Yeah. So, but yeah, it's always heartbreaking to have to like get rid of kids and stuff. But talking about like the military and stuff like that, one thing that you bring up probably more than anybody I know is camaraderie and teamwork. I think adults have been in the work field where they have to, you know, work with people. They come from military, they've done other sports, but kids especially, they come in and they look at it and they go, I'm here to fight, and I'm going to fight you, and I'm going to win, and then I'm going to go fight you, and I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to beat you. And you beat me up real bad last time, but I'm going to try to beat you up. You know what I mean? And it's me. What, like, you know, I explained to the kids like, oh, we're a team, and you know, if Matt gets better, Matt's going to push me to get better, and if Ryan gets better, Ryan's going to push me to get better, and as we get better, we all get better at the same time. And they're like, I'm going to kill everyone. You know, like, I see dead people. And so, you know, like, what advice do you have for like jiu-jitsu coaches or anyone like trying to kind of foster that spirit of teamwork and camaraderie?
That's a great question. So it's hard for the kids to understand like that kind of concept. Because like you said, when they go out, they're rolling and they're thinking, they're not realizing that the person that's better than them, that challenges them, is making them tougher. Like, it's kind of like like we understand it as adults. We get it. Like when we go to the gym and work out or run, that makes us feel physically weak, but in actuality, it's making us stronger. Like when we study something new, it makes us feel kind of uneducated or dumb, but in the end, it makes us smarter. So for them, it's kind of hard for them to wrap their mind around that sometimes. For some kids. So one of the exercises that I would do for, I had a Boy Scout troop reach out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we're having some trouble with discipline. One of the kids is, blah, 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 blah. If you could teach give him a lesson on teamwork and camaraderie and this and that." And I was like, "Great, beautiful, bring him in." So one of the things I had him do right off the bat was, at Endurance, it was flex space. So the back, had that big garage door. And what I did is I had that old square body pickup I had, that 93 F-150.
Yeah.
And I backed it up right close to the door. And at the end of the lesson, I taught them all the basic jiu-jitsu intro for kids. And then we talked about, all right, if somebody's really good at wrestling takedowns, are they going to make you better at them, or because they're going to make you better at this because they're going to consistently take you down and they're going to teach you how to become better at them. So it's good to have everybody that has their own set of skills everybody can share, swap recipes, and then everybody comes up together. I was a little bit more detailed, but I'm just kind of paraphrasing right now. And then at the end, I was like, okay, I need one volunteer. Raise your hand. And one kid would come up. I'm like, all right, everybody grab your shoes, walk to the mat, step over here, and I would have them put their hands on the back of that truck. And I'd have that one kid push that truck. I'd give them either 30 seconds or tell them to push it as far as they could until they got tired. And then I'd give everybody a couple chances to do it. And, it's a 10-year-old pushing a 3,000-pound truck, they're not going to go very far. But then towards the end, I'd have the kid that was tired push it again, and then somebody would be in the cab, obviously, for safety. It was
totally.
It was a neutral, and it was on a flat level parking lot. It's not like it was uphill or downhill. But I have one kid, they'd start pushing, and then I'd tap the back of another kid, and I'm like, go. And then he'd run out and get up next to him, and then both of them would start pushing, and it'd be obviously faster and faster. And then to where all of them were shoulder to shoulder pushing that truck the entire length of the parking lot. And that's kind of an extreme version of it, some people would think, but I think it's breaks down teamwork to a T.
Oh yeah.
It lets them realize that, you're going to create more. You're going to go farther with more energy, with having people in your team, and realizing that there are going to be people on your team that you do not like, and that's fine. You don't have to like everybody, but you need to learn how to work with people, because ultimately as adults, we run into people all the time that we don't like, but we still have to deal with them. We're not creating friends. We're creating relationships and working together in order to get a common goal done. And that's what I think a lot of parents forget about children, especially in schools, because schools have this, like, kind of going off topic a little bit. Schools have this, zero bully policy. No, you don't. You have a policy for schools that promotes bullying, because you tolerate it 100%. But as adults, if we go out into a workplace and if I've got somebody that's bullying me, I go to HR, file a complaint, somebody gets sued or somebody gets fired. We don't tolerate it as adults, but we're expecting children to tolerate it every single day they go to school. It's 100%, it's like it's a complete fallacy.
Yeah.
So, which I think it's extremely important for kids to learn how to protect themselves and build that confidence up, knowing that they can if it's necessary. But yes, going back on topic, that teamwork is knowing that they can work. They don't have to like somebody, but knowing that you can just work together, and just giving them activities like that. Even dragging one of the dummies, having one student pull it, and then another pull it, and then another, and then next thing you know, they're 10 seconds. It takes them less than 10 seconds to get from one side to the other, because all of them are working together. Just activities like that helps drive that home, because kids, I can sit and lecture them. Are they going to get it?
They're going to hear about 30 seconds of it, if that, and then pick their nose.
Yeah, exactly. But if
wipe it on the mats,
on
the walls,
cleaning up their knowledge off of the floor. But giving them a task to where that it helps them understand something physically, and help them get a little bit more grasp or a hold on it. so it's something tangible that they can put their hands on. Some kids are going to get it. The kids that are going to get it will get it, and they're great. But not all of them are like that. Not all of them are the Fraser boys or the Hectors that come in here. And it's those kids that don't get it that mean the most, that need it the most, and that mean the most. Like when I was student teaching here in Greenwood, when I moved in with you, and I was doing my student teaching. I was student
after Australia, right?
Before Australia.
Before Australia, okay.
So I moved here, did my student teaching at Greenwood Elementary. I did kindergarten. Oh, yeah. And then I did 4 months in Australia at the end of it. But I taught morning and afternoon kindergarten. The morning kindergarten kids were squared away. Didn't have any behavior issues. They were all great, all a higher level. So it was a lot easier to teach them. But they didn't need me. They didn't need a teacher because no matter who was in front of them, they were going to be fine because they just all knew how to work together. And they all had a good upbringing, so they were more focused in school. The afternoon kids is a different story. It was significantly more challenging for them. They had a harder time discipline. It took a lot more energy and effort to herd these cats together. But at the end of the time, I was more intrinsically invested with them and they were more invested with me. So when I had to go at the end of that 4 months, it was a little bit, when I said goodbye to the AM kids that got it, that required no effort from me.
They're like, yeah, deuces.
Yeah. They're like, all right, see you, Mr. S, bye-bye. But the kids that like I had to spend more time with and that needed the extra help and that had like troubled X, Y, and Z, those were the kids that got me all choked up because they were the ones that had that problem, that had the biggest jump.
Yeah.
You know, from when we were working with them, not working them to working with them. Because the kids that were squared away, they're going to be good no matter who's working with them because they don't need guidance. They're just cool. They're Fonzie, you know, but the kids that, you know, they grew up latchkey kids, grew up in front of a television, in front of a gaming system. They needed that discipline and they needed that. So they're the ones that are harder to say goodbye to.
Right. Yeah. You coach them, you invest in them,
Yeah.
you watch them grow, right? Like you watch them improve and you're like, oh man, I had some influence in these kids' lives. And then they're like, okay,
see you later.
Bye.
Yeah. You know, I still remember a bunch of the kids in Australia. I remember those kids. And that was third grade. That was 2005. And they're 7 years old then.
Wait, is this
2025?
20 years ago?
Holy moly. They're probably married now. They're like 27. Like, that's insane. We're old, dude.
I know. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Goodness. Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'll have kids that were in my kids' class bringing their children in to come to my kids' class. I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
What?
Shouldn't I have a cane?
I can't figure this out. Like, what's going on? I'm like, you're 4. Like, how do you have a kid? Who's 12? I don't get it. Yeah, it's crazy. And jiu-jitsu, I think, going back to the whole teamwork thing, like, we're literally kind of putting our life in each other's hands, right? Like, if you don't let go of a choke, I pass out. But I mean, potentially, it could be life-threatening, right? You could legitimately break my arm. So there's that huge element of trust.
Yeah.
That, like, I think adults don't really think too much on it, but like, as a kid, like, man, like, I tap, you let me go. Oh, there's like this like respect, this camaraderie built there because like I let you go, you let me go. We have this agreement, right? And I have this same agreement with every single person in this room. Like I'm literally putting my health and safety in your hands, and you're doing the same. And I think that's something jiu-jitsu very particularly has that like most, not even other martial arts, but like other sports and stuff, like football, man, those kids, they put the gear on and they freaking hit each other hard.
Yeah.
They're getting concussions and stuff. And yeah,
it's great. Teaching them one of the things that I would have them do to help with that is everybody helps each other up. You're done rolling, grab your teammates in, pick them up. Like, keep an eye on your teammates. And that's something we did in the fire academy too. Like something as simple as, I remember we had to do uniform checks in the fire academy. Like, keep responsible. You're responsible for your team, for your battle buddy. You're responsible for the person next to you and this and that. And check out their uniform. And it's funny because I remember doing that with my kids' class. And then now I'm at that time, I was 39 going through a fire academy. And I had somebody yelling at me who was younger than me, who's like telling me all the stuff that I would tell other kids. And it was just really funny.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
need to have like belt tying buddies. Get your belt tying buddy. Let's make sure everybody's belt's on right.
Yeah. I'm like, oh gosh.
So yeah. Parents. So I know like here we talk to the parents, like, hey, don't communicate with the kids. Like I'm actually writing a book right now, like kind of a parent's guide to jiu-jitsu kids, right? Mm-hmm. But just some basic stuff. But like setting boundaries with parents. Like, do you have anything that you like to tell parents at all? Like when they're first bringing their kid in, or after their kid's been here for a while. Like I know I had a student. He'd been here for a very short time, but he was competing, and he went out and he didn't do very good. And his dad was like, "Man, he's crying and stuff. Will you go talk to him?" And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I went over. I was like, hey, buddy, what's going on? And he's like, I lost. And I was like, cool. He like just stopped and looked at me. I was like, half of everyone loses their first match today. Yeah. So I was like, did you have fun? Did you get to do some jiu-jitsu? He's like, yeah. Awesome, dude. Like, did you do your best? Yeah. Yeah, dude, you're new. You did your best. That's all you can do, right? Yeah. So we came out, we did our best. Like, we're going to have a little bit of fun. And like, I could see his dad just like, oh, this is not how I thought this conversation was going to go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But what I'll say is his dad learned immediately how to talk to him at tournaments.
Yeah.
And that kid ended up, I think, the term before last, he had 17 matches. Dude. And lost every single one of them. And loves jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And like, and his dad's, it comes from an athletic background and stuff too, but it was just like I set that tone just, in real time.
Yeah.
And man, and his parents are great and he's great and he still goes out and competes and he loves competing and he loves doing jiu-jitsu and like it was really cool to see, like, because he stopped crying immediately and it was just like, oh yeah, no, I did what I was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Right. I came here, I did my best, I had fun. Mm-hmm. And that's how he looks at every single match. And he's getting better at jiu-jitsu. He's still competing. He's still, I think, man, he loves it now more than he did when he started. You know what I mean? He's like, because you see some kids, they're in it a year or so and they're petering off and they're like, oh yeah, I choked somebody before, no big deal. It's not cool anymore. Mm-hmm. But like, and it's a lot of the kids right now, man, they're just, as they're going, they're just like, you see like how much more invested they're getting in learning jiu-jitsu and how much more fun they're having. And it's really cool. But you need that you need the parent to back it up, right? You need the parent to bring them. And like, I always tell the kids, like day one, like you talked about, like, who's the people that love you the most? And I just tell them like, hey, don't be late to class. And they're like, my parents drive me. I'm like, yep. Mm-hmm. It's your job to be ready.
Yeah.
It's teamwork, right? Like,
absolutely. You
have to work with your parent, like, so. But yeah, so there was my tangent.
No, that's great.
But like setting boundaries with parents, or like just kind of like core things you tell parents when they're coming in. Like, we don't let our parents coach the kids while they're in class. We're just like, hey, mm-hmm. let the coach. It's too confusing, and also you don't know what you're talking about. You don't do jiu-jitsu, and you see it at tournaments a lot. Like I had a grandma screaming in my ear, like telling her grandson to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And then, oddly enough, I know it's another tangent, but one of my parents he taps on my shoulder. He's like, ma'am, my child can't hear his coach. Would you mind going over to the other side of the table where your child's coach is? And she did. And like all day long, I'd make eye contact with her, and she was just cussing me out, like the vulgarities coming out of this old woman's mouth. And I'm like, I've literally not said a word to you. Like, what is happening? And I heard him talk to her. He was very nice. He was just like, ma'am. But anyway, but yeah, parents and even grandparents' involvement with kids, it's usually parents that are the issue, right? And I'm in a good spot. We've got a big kids program. Most of our kids are absolutely great, and most of the parents are absolutely great with the kids. And so, if any of my parents are listening to this, it's not you. Don't worry about it. You guys are great.
That's a different struggle. I think setting the tone right off the bat.
Yeah.
Immediately, what's expected, what's appreciated, and things that are not helpful. Because even if you know jiu-jitsu, if a jiu-jitsu parent and they're out here in the lobby and their kids out here, even if you know jiu-jitsu, that's not your role.
Yeah.
Like your role is dad, support. Your role is mom, support. Even if mom and dad both know jiu-jitsu, that's coach's role. And that's one thing that's super important to make sure. Like if you're out here, it's encouraged. You can take photos, take videos, thumbs up, good job, keep going. But that's it. Don't yell into the class because I have 25 other students in class. They need to focus. It has nothing to do with you, nothing against negative about you, nothing against negative with this. It's just I have a responsibility to the class at its entirety, plus both mom and dad. So no contact with the kids whatsoever in class.
Yeah.
Unless there's an emergency, this and that. And then
the little ones like, hey, you need to go potty, go grab your mom.
Correct. Awesome. Yeah. And that's different because they're learning how to socialize this and that.
Yeah.
But as soon as they step on the mat, mom and dad don't exist.
Yeah.
You are in jiu-jitsu. You are in class. You are with your team. Anything that you need other than the little ones having help going to the bathroom, coach and your team will help provide and help gear you to accomplishing that goal. So setting the tone right off the bat, when we have the intros with the students and the parents, I bring them in and I kind of talk to them the same way I talk to you about the school bullying thing. Because most people bring their kids into jiu-jitsu because they want to learn how to teach them self-defense and to protect themselves. And also the other stuff, the other dozens of benefits of competing in a martial art, or whether it's wrestling or boxing or whatever. I tell them, I don't teach them when to fight. I teach them how to fight. And I don't impose my ideology on them because they're not my child. That's your job. You can probably guess where mine stands considering I do this for a living and what we teach, but I'm not going to overstep my bounds into your household. Yeah. But you're bringing them here for a reason, so I'm going to do my best to make sure that they know how, and it's your job to say when. But I'm going to gear towards more often than not because kids don't have the ability to, they're still learning on how to learn that, how to decipher the ability when to use physical and when to use words and how to use words, because they're kids. They ask the child how to tell a story, tell me about your day, and they're gonna, and then we did this first, and then that's what it is.
Yeah.
So, but there's a video I think I shared with you a long time ago with I forget who it was. I wish I could remember because I absolutely love this video. It was I think it was a coach or the organizer of the tournament. It's the bald dude, beard, and he's talking about interaction with parents, with students, or with competitors at the tournament. He's like, today is about the students and the coach, the students and the teammates. I do not want to hear any adult yell at a child, put them down, and I don't want to hear them talk about, I don't want to hear a parent yell, break it to a child that's in a tournament. Also, don't make excuses for your child. Don't make excuses for your student. It is not okay to say, you just lost because they were bigger than you or they were stronger than you. Don't make excuses. Learn that losing is a part of life and go out there and over 90% of the people at a tournament are going to lose. at least once.
Yeah.
So it's part of it. They need to realize that losing sucks, and that one tournament, that $10 medal or whatever it is, not even that. Like, it is not one. It's not worth it's not worth an injured joint. It's not worth your body. It's not worth getting injured so you can't go train again. You can have trouble at school. Or even an adult. I say this to we both say this to the adults.
Got to work Monday.
You have to go to work on Monday. You know, unfortunately, we're not all independently wealthy where we can just do jiu-jitsu every day, all day long. And to hell with the consequences, the physical consequences of being injured at a tournament. So
I'm not wealthy. I don't know if that was directed at me or not, but I can't do jiu-jitsu, so I can technically get hurt. But the wealth part, not so much.
But yeah, like we go there. It's about learning, getting better, not making excuses, compete, learn something about how you compete and what you're good at, what you're not so good at, and what you need to improve upon. And then it's a 6-month plan or a 3-month plan to the next tournament. It's not about today. It's about what you've learned and how you've changed in 6 months at the next tournament. Because there are tournaments every other month now. Every month. I mean, out in California, there's tournaments every weekend, multiple on the same weekend. When we were growing up, when we were doing jiu-jitsu, there was a tournament a year, maybe 2.
Dude, I flew to California as a white belt to compete. Like, there just weren't any. Yeah. I had more judo tournaments than I did jiu-jitsu because there was more judo.
Yeah, like, you were doing Newaza tournaments, man. Yeah. I remember going to Indiana Judo Championships, you know, and then you do the judo and then you do the Newaza tournament, and that's the only way you get matches in, man. Like, it was hard. Now
there's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot.
It's a lot. But yeah, I forget. I wish I could remember who it was who put that video out. Maybe he's talking about how parents need to talk to their kids. Don't make excuses. Sometimes you're going to win. Sometimes you're going to lose. Don't belittle them. Be like, hey, this is what happened. All right, what are you going to do to change it next time?
Yeah.
But setting the tone, what's expected, what's acceptable, how you run the classes as a team, how you run competition as a team. That way you don't have to run into that later. And occasionally you have to make minor corrections, but ultimately, you know, as long as how everything is addressed is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Thinking about how you're going to approach this in a manner that's going to get the outcome that's best for the student and the team, not your initial knee-jerk reaction. I told you not to do that, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Good. What about advice for coaches who are just starting to teach kids? Or for a coach that maybe just is trying to teach kids and they're freaking overwhelmed and they're like, I'm going to cancel this kids program because it's driving me bonkers, right?
I would say, that's up. If it's all about preparation. I mean, there are times like I like teaching the kids. I love teaching the kids. It's a lot of fun for me. I think I've got a good hold on how to process through and proceed through a class.
The parents, like the couple times you've taught class here recently, the parents have they're like, oh my God, Coach Stratta, he's awesome.
Yeah,
they you know, and I know the kids like it too. So
yeah, I'm glad, and that's the goal. But it's all about timing and effort and preparation, because ultimately everything, you can have a plan for the kids program, for the kids class, and it will go wrong at least half the time.
Yeah.
Because it's just the capacity. There's always something comes up. Somebody's going to be late, which is, it's not their fault. You know, traffic, parents, this and that, whatever. They got multiple kids at home. Somebody's going to be coming late. Somebody's going to get sick. Somebody's got to go to the bathroom. Somebody's going to pee their pants. Like, you got to clean up. Somebody's going to bump their head.
She froed up. Cool.
Right? It is what it is. And just know that ordered chaos is better than chaos.
Yeah.
So the amount of planning that you put into a program for that day and have a backup just in case if something goes wrong, because ultimately it will. So if there's a couple games or activities that you have that the majority of the class enjoys that are functional for jiu-jitsu or self-defense, And whether if it's the class is your lesson isn't going well and you need to shut everything down and just restart, go to those key activities because something's going to go wrong. And it's not okay if something goes wrong because of a lack of effort or just random chaos. Don't punish them. Don't punish the kids. Don't yell at them because it's not really their fault. If it's going wrong, just shut it down and go to those activities that help create more order and are still fun and functional. Go to those. If it goes wrong based on, let's say, discipline or a couple kids are just misbehaving, I'd recommend what I do is I shut everything down. I circle everybody up and we talk about what's expected, how to make changes, what will help them behave better and function better as a team, and what's going to help them function better or worse. What are the choices that they're going to make that can make them go good, the rest of the class go well, or the rest of the class go bad? And ask them what they want. Because they know the answer.
Right.
And only
But it's their choice now.
It's their choice. Exactly. I always give them a choice. This or that. Be like, nope, this is it. And if occasionally you might have that student that's like having a really bad day, be like, all right, well, you're done. You're done for the day. All right. And if it gets to that point, all right, you're done. And no emotion. Don't get emotional because that just creates more issues. So this is what it is. This is your choice. This is how you guys have been behaving. We're going to go ahead and shut class down. We're not going to do the games anymore. We're going to circle up. We're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about this and how we can better behave this way, how we can better work towards being a better teammates. Are you ready? Do you want to be a good teammate or a bad teammate? Good teammate. You want to be MVP or you want to be the student that messes it up for everybody? No one's going to say, I want to be the guy that messes it up for everybody.
Yeah.
You want to be MVP? What do you need to do? All right. Are you ready to do that? Awesome. Let's go. Bam. Fist bump. Everybody up. Bam. Hit the wall. Go. And then change the tone. Yeah. Change the tone.
So I like that. Like you're kind of like being monotonous. We're talking. We're making them make choices. Mm-hmm. That way it is their choice. And then the energy level starts coming up. The energy level starts coming up. And you're like, oh, yeah. And then hopefully we're rocking again, right?
Yeah.
Like that's great.
Absolutely. Because ultimately, like the yelling, I don't yell at them. I yell in class.
Right. Project.
You project the voice. But I get them used to that because ultimately in life you got to get used to somebody yelling at you. Yeah. And then two, if I normally speak like this and then I start yelling at a person, they're not gonna feel good about it.
Right.
But if they get in the habit of knowing, oh, this is how coach communicates, then okay, awesome. But when I am upset, it drops back down. What are we doing? Are you ready?
Yeah.
Why don't you show me you're ready? That has more effect than me just screaming at a child or a kid in class in front of everybody, because that's not okay.
Right.
They're going to feel bad. How many times it's like your dad or your grandpa is like, I'm not mad.
I'm disappointed.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, but you're not saying you're disappointed in them because that's in front of other people. That's not okay. Yeah. But it's that.
Right.
And dude, that works a lot of the times.
Yeah. And also like people who bring their kids here for discipline tend to not discipline. Mm-hmm. And so when you're yelling at their kid, that's kind of a no-no, right? Oh, we don't yell in my household.
Well, like this isn't your house.
Yeah. But like instead of yelling, like you said, you drop your tone. Mm-hmm. So it's a change in tone. They understand.
Correct.
But now we've lowered it. We've become more serious.
Yep.
So it's non-threatening. I mean, kind of, right? But it's not like the parents are going, oh my God, like he yelled at my child. Everyone heard him yell at my child.
Like, well, it's okay.
Yeah.
You're going to get yelled at occasionally in life. That's fine. Yeah. But yeah, that helps a lot. Just the constant delivery and then giving him a choice. Also, one of the things that helps a lot with the kids class, and just like I said, preparation, is when I ask a question, I'll give them an instruction on how to answer. raise your hand if you've got this. Because if you just ask a generalized question to an entire 15,
they're all
10-year-olds, they're all
different
answering.
answers.
And then it's loud, obnoxious. Then you have to get control again and then move on.
Yep.
So I'm like, raise your hand if you have this, or raise your hand if you know this, know how to do this. All right, awesome. Who can demonstrate this for the class? And then I'll bring that kid out and then they'll demonstrate it. Who else can demonstrate this? Who else thinks they know how to do it? And I'm constantly bringing kids out to show the rest of the class, because then, one, you don't have to do anything because you're teaching 4 or 5 classes a day. And like every time you do a sit-up sweep or an arm bar or a triangle, like it can get pretty rough. You know, so
you also have a kid's teaching voice. Like every time you're even like right now, like when you're talking, like your voice is completely different than it is when you're talking to an adult, right? Like
absolutely.
Yeah. You've got it's the kid voice. So
and that helps a lot. But it's all in. If you're starting a kids program, I would make sure you have a plan and a backup plan and a series of activities just in case if stuff goes sideways, and it will.
Yeah.
And when it goes sideways, just some half a dozen activities that you can go through. And also it's important. I think it's important to have some games, for the kids to play that are jiu-jitsu related or self-defense related.
Yeah.
And that way, if they act up, you know, if they're doing great, all right, we have these other games we're going to play, blah, 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 blah. For me, there was a 15-minute window at Endurance between the end of kids class and the start of the adult class. A lot of times I would run over and use that 15 minutes for games. But at 45 minutes, if the kids, they were just having a rough day and they had trouble focusing or we just couldn't get through the material, like, sorry guys, like we had a rough day today. Normally we might play a game, but we had some trouble getting through the stuff today. We had some people were struggling, and that's okay. It happens sometimes, but let's try to refocus. So next time we can play some games. And then that 15-minute break, it doesn't cut into the adult class, and it's not really a punishment for them. Like they're not getting disciplined, but they're still not getting that fun part because it's not actually part of class.
Right.
So that's another little trick. But preparation, having everything planned out, and then some just in case if stuff goes sideways, because it will.
I'm big on prep. Like I know what I'm teaching every week, and sometimes you come in and it's just like, no, I want to show something a little different, right? Yeah. Like, you know, but it's fine. But that's easy. That's also easier to do with adults than it is with kids. Like I think kids, you need to be a little more structured, but at the same time, you gotta, like, oh man, I thought this was going to take 5 minutes. It took 15. Oh, I thought this was going to take 30 minutes and we're done in 5. Oh God.
Right.
Right. So now we got to just make adjustments but that's jiu-jitsu. I mean, you come in with a game plan and, oh, nope. Yeah. That guy just took me down. Crap. And I didn't land in butterfly guard. Now I'm in spider guard somehow. Like, I don't know what's going on. But you've got to have those backup plans. So yeah, no, it's great. Last question, and then we'll probably start wrapping up, man. What do you think separates a good kids coach from a great kids coach?
A good kids coach from a great kids coach. I would say the commitment and the energy and the focus. Because ultimately, when it comes time to the kid, a lot of reasons that I would say that the biggest reason kids classes are so challenging for us as adults is that, one, we forget what it's like to be a kid. I mean, it's been
not me
40 years since, I'm 46, man. And we're 46 now.
Same birthday.
So we forget that, one, when you get up, you've always have somebody on you telling you what to do, what it's like to play, and you forget that you're constantly happy. And you're not when you have somebody that's on you, telling you what to do, controlling. It's like constantly like pushing you down and trying to control you. So realizing that they're just small adults and they don't have the cognitive ability to reason or reflect, or it takes them a while to understand the pattern. You get into the car, you put your seatbelt on and you sit. They get into the car and they're just like, oh, look, and
there's a dome light.
Yeah, they're playing with stuff and this and that. And you're like, stop it. Knowing that they're kids they're thinking like kids. It's like puppies, you know. And then how communicating with them in a way that's not disrespectful, because ultimately there's a difference between discipline and respect and being disrespectful.
Yeah.
And communicating with them in a way that helps them understand what's expected versus letting them know they did something wrong. It's two completely different things. Communicate. That's why you get down the discipline issues in class, kneel down. Like I had a kid who the other day, his sister, he was in class with his sister, and he came in and his sister was going to a spot to work out, and he ran in front of her and like cut her off, and like it's like, no, I got this spot, you go over there, or whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw that, and in my mind I'm immediately like seeing red, because one, that's not how you talk to your little sister.
Yeah.
Two, that's not how you talk to a teammate. And three, that's rude.
Just being a jerk.
Yeah, it's a jerk face thing to do. So I focused and I went up to him and I says, what was that? He goes, what do you mean? He goes, well, what did you say to her? And why did you say that? Oh, okay. I'm like, well, okay. Well, one, that's not how we talk to our teammates, because we're all here. We want to be good teammates. Two, that's your little sister. That's somebody that's one of the most important members of your family, like the youngest version of you. Our job is, as teammates, is to help them, and your job as a big brother is to protect her.
Right.
So what I want you to do is, what you need to do is go over to apologize to her. And so he did. And then he comes over and I says, why did you apologize to her? And his immediate response was, because you told me to.
Yep.
And I stopped and I says,
he's not wrong.
I'm like, that's the wrong answer. No, I normally wouldn't say that, but I was upset.
Yeah.
Because that's not how you speak to your little sister, and that's not how you speak to a teammate.
Yeah.
And this has been a recurring thing. So I'm like, that's the wrong answer. Why do you think I told you to go talk to her like that and apologize? And then he gave me the right answer.
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. You're exactly right. Nice job. Way to be a good teammate. Bam. And then at the end of class, I lined it. We circled up. And I'm like, what's the most important thing about what's MVP stand for? Raise your hand if you know what it means. Most valuable player. Raise your hand if you know how an MVP behaves. And everybody, and even the kid that I had to talk to, raised his hand. And I was like, yes. And I'm knife handing everybody, you know. Yeah. And he says, well, helping other people get better. I'm like, beautiful. Do you want to be a good teammate or do you want to be a bad teammate? I want to be a good teammate. Yes, perfect. Bam, high five, fist bump. Well, then give me something else. And I didn't just focus in on him, because then it makes them feel bad.
Right.
Which one, he should feel bad, because that's not how you speak to a teammate or your little sister. But also it still it spreads it out through the entire team. So he's not just being singled out. He knows that everybody else knows these rules. So afterwards they're like, okay, I got it. And hasn't happened since that I know of. I haven't seen it happen.
Well, he learned a lesson.
Yeah.
And the whole class might have learned that same lesson. You know what I mean? Like before there was an occurrence, or just some kid that's got a little sister and was like, oh, yeah, I need to protect my little sister. You know what I mean? Like that might be something that was never taught to him, never occurred to him. And, he learned that in jiu-jitsu.
And that's the thing. Like parents the other thing too is we get caught up. We forget that parents are parents too. Like they have their own lives going on, and sometimes lessons just get skipped, only because not on purpose, just because sometimes life gets caught up. Not every single lesson that we teach here gets taught at home, which is unfortunate. Yeah. But mom and dad have a lot going on. Multiple kids, probably multiple jobs. Sometimes now 2 households. How it is nowadays. So sometimes those lessons get skipped, and so it's good that we can kind of cover those here. So, and also keeping that energy up and understanding that they are kids and addressing them as kids, keeping them accountable, and just consistency through how you communicate, because ultimately they're going to make mistakes. They're kids, they're puppies, just in human form, and
Potty on the mat sometimes even.
It wouldn't be the first. It's not going to be the last.
Yeah.
And just letting them know that correcting improper behavior the proper way, and making sure that it's addressed in a manner that's respectful and polite. Because, I mean, if one of the parents comes to you and starts yelling at you because they're unhappy with something, you're an adult. You know, what's with that? You're not going to respond properly. I'm not going to respond properly. So why would we expect a child to respond properly when, one, they're a child, they don't know they're learning how to regulate their emotions and how to communicate effectively. And then two, when you're yelling at them, they don't know half the time they don't know why they're getting yelled at, because you don't know how they're looking at something or how that looks on the outside. I remember Christmas, I said something, I would think I was like 14. I said something that in hindsight was rude, and my brother like yelled at me, but I didn't mean it in a rude way.
Yeah.
It just, I'm like, and he's like, why would you say that? And I remember thinking, oh, I didn't mean it like that. I meant X, Y, and Z. But how I said it to somebody that wasn't thinking what I was thinking is very rude.
Yeah.
So it's just understanding and trying to figure out what's going on on how you react to the student or before you react, and then just keeping it fun. Because there's that famous meme with, like, you know, what's his, Ben Affleck.
Oh yeah.
Where he's like
he's like outside
sitting there and he's like, like, and where he looks just defeated.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm teaching after kids class.
Yeah.
But it's what makes it so draining is the energy that it requires to teach a kids class is high intensity, high energy, short term.
Yeah. The energy I have in kids class is not the same energy I have in adult class. Now, do I have energy in adult class? Yes, but it's a different energy, right? Mm-hmm. Adults require, if I was like, hey, adults, oh my God, and acting like a clown, they'd be like, get out of here, weirdo. But the kids are like, oh, Coach Shape's funny. you know, you got to play a different role. You got to be a different character. You
have to. That's a very good point. You do have to be a kind of a character, but keeping that energy up, that's what's draining.
Yeah.
But after every single time I taught a kids class on the days that I didn't want to, I was happy.
Yeah, you feel better.
Because you're
being happy. You're smiling and you're dancing and you're being goofy, and like it's hard to be in a bad mood when you're doing that stuff. Yeah. Like even when the kids are when they put you in a bad mood. One thing I always think about is like anytime, and you kind of mentioned it with, like, when you were 14, you said something that just came off wrong. Is kids just don't think the same way. We don't, like, when I was a kid, I was young, like, I don't know, probably like 4 or younger. And I remember I was with my mom in some kind of department store, and I was crawling under the clothes.
Like every kid does.
And this lady goes, hey, she worked there. She's like, don't play under there. I wasn't playing. Mm-hmm. I was crawling. You know what I mean? So, like, in my head, what she said had no validity. Mm-hmm. They didn't make sense to me, because I'm obviously not playing. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have that like depth of understanding what she meant. I was just like, you're dumb, lady. I'm obviously just crawling under the clothes. I'm not playing under here. I'm not hurting anything. And I literally just looked at her, I go, I'm not playing. And I went about what I was doing, which was crawling, you know? And so, like, sometimes, like, I think, I remember that all the time, right? Like, you can tell a kid something, and what you say and what they understand are completely different things. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. You know, like, you can, I remember hearing adults say things when I was younger, and I'm like, I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
Like, I got in trouble in high school, and I got written up because, and my algebra teacher said on the note, it said, Matt cued in with a comment, and I'm like, I don't know what that means. Yeah. Like, so also basic language. using smaller words,
Yeah.
communicating clearly, making sure everybody understands everything.
And asking, right? Hey,
yeah.
do you understand what I mean? When I say this, do you understand what that means?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me in your words, what does it mean?
Yeah.
Right? Like just clarifying things. And 'cause sometimes you say something and they're like, yeah, I know, because they don't want to feel dumb.
Correct.
It's all right. Tell me.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I mean, asking them, hey, raise your hand if, boom. The other thing, too, is saying things like, all right, is everybody ready? And then, asking that kind of question. Like asking the question that instead, I forget the actual phrase for it, but asking a question like, is everybody ready? Instead of, all right, who needs more time? Something as simple as, because if everybody says yes, yay, the majority of the class says yes, and there's that one kid that's like, I still need help tying my belt.
Yeah.
Or it's like, all right, who needs help right now? Or who needs a few extra minutes? Or who's not ready? Who needs help? Just phrasing your questions in a manner that's directed towards the ones that need help instead of a blanket statement that says, all right, is everybody ready? I'm like, well, I mean, if 90% of people say yeah, then I'm not ready. Then I still have to fall in line because I get it. It's important to create hustle and for them to realize that. But
you're almost talking to like the minority of the group, right? The people that, it makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just simple things. Just adjust how you speak to kids and how you talk to them, and ask questions like, or give them specific direction on how to answer, which helps a lot with classroom management. Raise your hand if. Who can show me? Raise your hand if you can show me X. All right, everybody toe the line and throw a bubble in your mouth. And the countdown works really well.
Yeah.
I've never had an issue with a countdown. And if they do something and they don't, it doesn't work out, don't get upset. Be like, all right, everybody toe the line. Boom. Do it again. Work together as a team. You've got 10 seconds. Make a circle. Ready? 3, 2, 1, go. 10, 9, and have them do it. Doesn't work? All right. Do it together. Work better as a team. Let's go. Let's do it again. Just kind of teamwork, classroom management activities and things like that. That really helps. So
nice. Very cool, man. Well,
awesome.
I got through all my questions. Thanks for being the very first guest on the Fight Hub podcast.
Happy to be here.
I guess this is technically the first podcast I've ever hosted. I've been on a few. I have no idea how to end this. I don't know. Awesome. I guess we'll just say thanks again, man. I appreciate your time. I know it took a lot of your day. So, you got any last final words?
No, Coach. I'm happy to be here. Happy to help. Never been on a podcast before, so when you asked me, I was more than excited to help out because you've helped out the team and me through the years. So I'm grateful to have the skill and to come and help you with your kids class and hopefully help some other people get some.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. I thought it was fantastic. So thanks. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.